Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our content webinar, Maximize Your Use of LEAP's Content Library. My name is Jennifer Lee, and I am the Legal Content Manager at LEAP Canada. To those who have attended our previous webinars, welcome back. This webinar is produced by the Legal Content team at LEAP, and I'll be joined by Charlotte Monk, a Legal Research Specialist on our team. Our team's goal is to help our clients maximize their use of the Legal Content Library, one of the great features of LEAP. Our priority is building our legal content library in ways that allow law firms to increase their efficiency and productivity. On that note, we are always very keen to listen to your feedback to help improve our program's features. Please do not hesitate to provide your feedback or requests regarding our legal content via the LEAP Community Help Center page or by email to contentca@leaplegalsoftware.ca. Today's webinar will run for approximately 25 minutes in listen-only mode. Feel free to type in any questions in our GoToWebinar question feature. After the demonstration, we will share and respond to the questions submitted by our live audience. A recording of the session will be made available after the presentation and will be delivered in a follow-up email. If you require any advanced or one-on-one training, you can also contact our practice advisor, Ransford Owusu. LEAP is here to help. In this webinar, we'll be going back to the basics so that you can set yourself up for success in maximizing your use of the content library. We will discuss the features of cards in a matter and explain how tables on a matter can be used to get the most out of your form and precedent automation. We will also show you how to locate the correct form or precedent for your matter. Putting these tips into practical use, we will demonstrate the use of two key Ontario forms. The first is the 16B Affidavit of Service form under the Rules of Civil Procedure, and the second is the Law Society of Ontario's Form 9A. These demonstrations will show you how LEAP enhances the speed and efficiency of creating forms such as these, saving you valuable time. Finally, we will provide a quick overview of the drafted content in the will and POA matter provided by lawyers.
Hi Jen, thanks for inviting me today. My role as a legal research specialist at LEAP is to research the legal processes and required forms and documents necessary for a matter type, and assist our development and forms team to design automated templates and forms that will maximize efficiency for your practice. During my time in private practice, I remember drafting on tight deadlines and juggling multiple files, so I really appreciate the need to be economical with your time and have all the information at your fingertips, so that is something I keep in mind in my current role. Currently, LEAP Canada clients in Ontario and Alberta have the convenience of accessing more than 1,000+ forms and precedent documents from our exclusive library. Our forms team works hard to ensure that forms are always up to date, helping you to stay compliant. We want to assist our clients to be able to utilize this library to their fullest advantage, and so today I am excited to go over some of the essential tips to organizing your matter so that those forms and precedents can be automated the way you want them. Because, as we all know, time is money for a law firm. Before we begin, I'd like to just note the terms we will be using. You'll hear me using words like tables, cards, and layouts. Tables are the cornerstone of your database, containing all the information relevant to a specific topic or entity. Tables are categorized as either cards or layouts. Cards are used for entities, for example, people, businesses, and organizations, and collect information for preset fields, primarily name and contact details. Meanwhile, layouts are tailor-made to collect matter-specific information, for example, a property layout for our real estate matters. To start, I'd like to begin with cards on a matter. And we can go ahead by opening this family law matter. And as you can see here, when we open it up, there'll be default tables preset for the matter type you've opened here on the left-hand side. We've created this format so that when you open the matter up, you've got all the most salient information at hand. Right now, I will explain how the cards work. As you can see, as I open up the card for the client, who we've set as a respondent here, the cards will always have this format that allows you to input contact information and other details relating to the person or entity. You'll be given the option of specifying what card type, business, trust, etc., And we've currently got 3 subtabs to further organize all the relevant information. I'll note that it's usually a good idea to fill in as much information as will be relevant under the General tab, and this might include date of birth, date of death, etc., depending on the matter type. Remember that the more relevant information that is filled in the cards, the more data will auto-populate to the forms and templates you'll be using later on. All of this is designed to save you time instead of re-entering the same details into every affidavit, notice, or form, as when you fill it all in here, all that information will then merge over. You'll also notice here that when you fill in the information here, it should cross-fill to general details. Under the other subtab, there's also the option of adding additional information, including occupation, language of interpreter, passport number. So if you're working on, for example, an immigration matter, you'll have the option to include that information from the start. The other subtab also leaves space to leave additional notes about the client or the file, such as special needs or personal notes. I know in my practice, some of my clients had certain accommodations that I wanted to make sure were on file, or certain preferences on how to be contacted. For example, a client who was hospitalized for the duration of the file, and all affidavits needed to be sworn out of the office. Of course, you can enter as much information as you can when you're opening the matter, but these can be edited or added to as the matter progresses and you have more information coming in. And of course, that can be done by either just double-clicking the relevant card or right-click to open. I'd also like to take this opportunity to discuss using multiple cards on a matter. So it's not uncommon for a situation to arise where you are dealing with multiple companies or people who are a part of your matter. This could be, for example, multiple plaintiffs and defendants in a litigation action. To demonstrate this, we will be opening up a litigation matter. There are 2 ways of going about dealing with multiple parties. If the individuals or companies have the same address and you'll be addressing the same documentation to them, you can add them onto one card. You can do this by opening up the plaintiff card, and then next to people, just click the addition button. And as you can see, the same format for that individual will pop up underneath it. If they have separate addresses, we can then add an additional card. So let's say we wanted to add a second plaintiff to this matter. If it's a new party who we don't have a card for already, we can right-click on plaintiff and then select new plaintiff. If this is an individual who already has a card, we can right-click on plaintiff and then we'll go to add plaintiff from card list. And you'll note the new card will appear as plaintiff 2. So as we mentioned before, LEAP has set up an automatic configuration of default tables for each matter type. So when you open up the matter, you will see the cards for individuals, organizations, entities that you'll most commonly be interacting with already set up on the left of your matter. You will also see default layout tables automatically set up for you to enter in the relevant information. Taking a divorce matter as an example, you'll note on the left the default tables in this case include cards for the respondent, who is our client in this instance, the applicant, who is the other side, the applicant's lawyer, and any children. Default layouts in this matter include layouts such as marriage and separation details, child details, etc. What you will find is that certain layouts are linked to a card. For example, the child details layout will only appear once the child card has been filled in. All of this information can be updated as your matter unfolds. Another very important thing to note is that LEAP provides you with the ability to add or delete tables to meet your needs for the matter. If you just right-click the details section at the top here, select Edit Table Types, and you'll see 2 columns. The one on the left lists the default and non-default tables that the content team has determined could be relevant to this particular matter. You would check off the boxes to make any table you see here active. The column on the right provides you with a list of all possible tables in LEAP. So, for example, If there is a witness, which is pivotal information you want to have on hand, you can add that to the matter as active. Alternately, if you'd like to streamline your details, LEAP also allows you to remove tables that you aren't currently using. The tables that have been set up should be completed, as all of that information will then populate into relevant forms, and also allows anyone who is opening up the matter to immediately see all of the pertinent information. Note that all of this information, when changed in the table in your matter, will synchronize to your form once it's saved and update in your form using the Leap for Word ribbon. For example, we can take a look at the application for divorce. You can see here that currently the separation date is noted to be September 9th, 2020. If you receive information that requires updating, you can return back to the card, update the information as necessary, and then when we return to Word, if you click the Update button, you note the information automatically updates. So now I'm just going to briefly touch on locating the correct form or precedent for your matter. LEAP has a library of automated forms and precedents, which our content team is always working on building and keeping up to date for you. To access the forms and precedents, we want to be in the Details and Correspondence tab. We click on Forms and Precedents. And as you can see, all the forms and templates have been organized by area of law, and then matter type, and then folders and subfolders, which when you select them will open up and you can see all the documents available. It is possible to open up a form or precedent from a different area of law or matter type than the matter you're currently in, but of course there will be much less automation happening because the relevant table fields may not be in the matter. If you prefer not to browse through the folders to find your form, there is another way that's available to you to locate the form, and that is by using the Search tab up at the top of the window. Here, we would select the province we'll be searching in, and then type in the name or number of the form, and you'll see the results list is generated. So, for example, we select Ontario, and then search certificate, and you can see the results list that has been generated. If you'd like to narrow the results further, we can go to drop-down and select Rules of Civil Procedure folder and subfolder, and you can see the results will be narrowed. With all that in mind, I'm going to pass you back to Jen now, who will be taking you through how this information can be utilized in practice.
Thanks so much for that, Charlotte. In the next section of our webinar, we'll be able to show you a bit more practically how the above steps look when automating an actual form, as that is the end goal. We'll begin with the 16B Affidavit of Service under the Rules of Civil Procedure. This form is in Word format, which is the typical file format you will find the LEAP forms in. This Affidavit of Service is a really great example of how client feedback helped us improve the automation and quality of the form. We received feedback from one of our litigation firm clients who requested certain helpful changes, which we were able to implement so that the form automation would function better for all of our users. So let's take a look. So I'll be opening up the Affidavit of Service from within an Ontario civil litigation matter. I'd begin by clicking on the Forms and Precedents icon in the Details and Correspondence tab. And as Charlotte explained to us previously, we can locate the form by using the search toolbar at the top, by either putting in the name of the form or even the number of the form. Opening the form up, you'll see this Leap for Word add-in at the right side. You want to make sure that you enable the Leap for Word add-in to make filling out the form even easier for you. If your firm has not already done that, you just need to click on the Add-ins button on the top Word ribbon and click on the Leap for Word icon there to have that added. The relevant information that you filled out in the matter tables, for example, the court file number and the party names, will populate onto the form from the matter. The Leap for Word add-in then guides you through the rest of the form by asking your questions to fill in the blanks. I've gone ahead and filled out some information for us. As you'll see, the person in this case serving the affidavit is Jennifer Lee. Then you would choose the appropriate labels for the deponent's residence relating to Jennifer Lee. And then you would select how the service was made. Depending on the option you choose, the sub-questions that appear in the panel will change. In this case, I have chosen service by email as an alternative to personal service. Having chosen that option, these three sub-options then appear. In this case, I'm choosing service by email on a party acting in person or a non-party. And I've put in the name of the person served, what's being served, the email address which they were served, and I would choose the date of service. Once I hit Update Document, you will see all of that information then populate onto the form using the appropriate language that is used for affidavits of service. The other function I wanted to show you was that you can check off if a back should be added to the form, in which case you'll also see the back sheet that goes along with the rules of civil procedure. Finally, you'd want to go through the bottom half of the form, making sure that any of these applicable sections are filled in. So for example, with sworn or affirmed, you would have the option to choose sworn or affirmed in person or by video conference, and you would go through any applicable section to make sure that it's accurate. Once that's done, you can press Save and Close to have that document automatically saved to your correspondence window in your matter, or you can click on Time Save and Close and create a time entry for the time spent on preparing this document. We also wanted to highlight the Law Society of Ontario's Electronic Trust Transfer Requisition Form, also known as a 9A form, because it is a commonly used form across many areas of law. This form is required by the LSO whenever a lawyer has electronically transferred funds from their trust account. As an example, we will create the form from within a purchase matter. We have coded this 9A form using a more complex application that will pull in the accounting information from your LEAP Trust Funds tab on the matter. This means that once you make any applicable entries in your LEAP Trust Funds tab, you will not have to input this information manually a second time on the form. So let's try opening up that form. Clicking on the Forms and Precedents icon, the form can be found inside the Practice Management folder. You'd look inside the Accounting subfolder, in the LEAP Form subfolder, and finally the Law Society of Ontario subfolder to find the form. Or, as Charlotte has showed you previously, you can also use the search bar tool on the top to locate your form. So let's open up that form. In order to be able to use the form properly, you should make sure you have loaded the Leap for Word add-in. This is necessary to pull the data from the Trust Funds tab on the matter. In the first Transfer Detail section of the add-in, you will see the Transfer dropdown, which will show all of the EFT Trust to Receivables transfers previously saved in the Trust Funds tab on the matter. You will then select the applicable transfer number. The form will then automatically update, showing the transfer number, transfer amount, reason, and the matter details where the selected transfer was created. If you wish to update the form with a transfer from a different matter, check off the Show Transfers from All Matters checkbox here. Then you will see a drop-down of all of the transfer numbers created across all of your matters in LEAP. Next, in the Transaction Details section, you will see three drop-downs. The first one, Person Requisitioning the Transfer, will show the person responsible named by default, which was set on the matter on which the selected transfer was created. The person entering the transfer and the person authorizing the transfer drop-downs will show you the person who is logged into LEAP and has opened the form. You can change the default names in any of the drop-downs by searching or selecting another staff member. You can also type in a different name and click Add Custom Item if that is required. Once all the information has been added and the form is complete, click Save and Close to save the form to the matter. Finally, We wanted to take this opportunity to introduce the by lawyer's drafted content for the will and power of attorney matter that is now available in LEAP. By Lawyers is a companion product exclusively integrated with LEAP, which provides practical, up-to-date legal guides and precedents for lawyers, authored by experienced practicing lawyers. By Lawyers has not yet fully launched in Canada, but our users now have complimentary access to the By Lawyers content for just the will and power of attorney matter. You can access this drafted content by going into a will and power of attorney matter, and once again clicking on the Forms and Precedents icon in the Detail and Correspondence tab. This takes us to the Will and Power of Attorney folder. Select the By Lawyers Wills folder. As you will see here, the By Lawyers content is organized in folders that follow a typical process flow for your matter, meaning that you will find relevant precedents for each stage of a matter. In this case, we will be looking at the typical stages of a will matter, starting from getting the matter underway, preparing the will, execution of the will, and finalizing the matter. Let's take a look at what we find in the Getting the Matter Underway folder. As you can see, By Lawyers precedents include things such as a file cover sheet, retainer agreements, customized for a will matter, starter letters, and a to-do list for wills. Looking now in the Will folder, you will find precedent wills for individuals, blended families, and spouses, as well as a library of clauses and trust provisions. There is a lot of content to explore. Another great feature of the By Lawyers content is the practical commentary they provide. The commentary gives users a clear guidance on each step of a matter and includes links to legislation and cases, enabling you to find answers quickly and easily. We encourage you to check it out.